Welcome, everyone. I'm Pat Mitchell. Welcome to the sizing webinar. I wanted to kick this webinar off with a quote, and then we're going to get into a discussion about sizing. But I think that this is really important to go over. And, you know, it's a very famous quote. Maybe you guys have heard it before, but it goes something like this. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. And the reason why that's really important, and because I really think that there are new traders they're a little delusional, right? And I'm not saying that to be an ass or anything like that. It just simply is the truth. And I was too, right? When I first came in as a day trader, I was completely delusional as well. And what it was it looks really easy, and you kind of get sold this idea of how easy it is, and it's not at all. And one of the reasons that it's not easy is your emotions, getting your emotions under control. So hopefully the stream is going all right for you guys. Everything looks all right so far for you. I don't mean to break up this webinar a little bit, but I want to make sure we're all good. Perfect. Awesome. So discussing that quote a little bit, where new traders brush things over are the basics. It's something I discuss a lot, folks, a lot. Now, the reason why people kind of brush off the basics is because, it's the basics. It's a candle, it's a wick, it's a stock chart, right? And I've done a full-blown 1 hour long mentoring live class dedicated to just the body and the wicks of a candle. There's so much going on there, and it's the devil's in the details, right? And not only that, not just the candle as in basics, but basics in sizing. This is why traders spin their wheels for as long as they do. They can't get their sizing under control. They don't know when to size up. They're all over the place with sizing. They're trying to make money. They're all over the place. And what we've designed is basically Adam has created, he's created this app, and we're going to go over it and we're going to discuss it. And it's based off of my teachings for the last 8 years at Trick Trades. And this isn't going to be salesy or anything like that. It's really going to show you guys the importance of sizing down and going through what you should be doing, the process. We've all heard that too, right? Like, what is the process? Well, people throw that term around, trust the process, respect the process is everything, all of that. But a lot of people don't know exactly what the process is. And that's a problem, right? So we're going to get into, I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to go over a few things, and we're just going to start going back and forth. If you guys have any questions whatsoever, just feel free to drop them in chat, and I will get to them towards the end of the class as well. And I have something special for all of you that are attending, all of you members and non-members as well. So make sure you stick around to the end, because I'm looking forward to giving you guys that. So I'm going to share my screen. Give me one quick sec, please. Okay, so we're going to start discussing sizing, right? And the process of sizing. Now, I'm a little frazzled right now. I got to be honest with you. We just had a huge storm roll in. For those that don't know, I live in Costa Rica, and it is rainy season, and I was worried I was going to lose power and internet and the whole nine. I do have a battery backup, so if it does happen to go down, just bear with me, okay? So now let's talk about, there are 5 common reasons why your account isn't growing. That's why you're all here, right? You're here because you want to learn how to grow your account that 620% in 6 months, under 6 months. Actually, it works out to be 5.5 months. So let's go through some of the reasons why you are spinning your wheels in this perpetual cycle of growing your account, losing your account, growing your account, losing your account. So the first thing is you don't have a clear path forward for consistent growth. What it is a blueprint. You need a plan. Anything to do with trading in general, there is a plan that is needed. This is something that takes a methodical mind to detail exactly how you're going to get from point A to point B to point C. That's extremely important. This is not something you can just wing. Okay. Now, the analogy I always give to this, and a lot of very new, especially first year day traders are guilty of, it's in the exact same respect as if you were a first year medical student. And I know I use this analogy all the time, guys, but bear with me for those that haven't heard it. If you were a first year medical student and it was your first week or first month in medical school, and they happened to take you into the hospital and into the OR to give you a tour and show you what you're up against, you, in all of your infinite wisdom and ego, you decide to kick open the doors of that operating room and yell at the nurse, "Hey, throw me that scalpel." Well, that's what a lot of new traders are doing. They don't have a plan and they're kicking down the doors and just cowboying it. It's not going to work. You will blow up. Absolutely. And one of the things where that delusion kicks in is there's obviously at the beginning, there is a lot of luck that's involved with trading. It's that beginner's luck. And I tell a story about this guy. Doesn't matter who it is, but he essentially made $1 million trade way back when, and he's still kind of riding the coattails of that $1 million trade. And the way that he's progressed as a trader, and I've talked to this guy personally, I know he is full of shit and he has never gained a level of true consistency just because of the way he talks and thinks about the market. He never grew up past that first year day trader. And it's a shame. There's a lot of traders out there that kind of succumb to ego and they will not grow. This is another thing I talk about. And we could always do another webinar on this. If you guys are interested, let me know about really working on yourself, having that detailed plan to start working on yourself, because that's extremely important. A lot of day trading really doesn't have anything to do with the charts and the technicals or fundamentals or the news or whatever, even the Feds, none of that. It deals with you. You're in a battle, you against yourself is what's going on, right? And when you can really get that stuff under control, you're going to have it beat. You will. There's no way but to progress from there. And, to get back to not having that clear path, that clear blueprint, you will be lost. Like, how many of you, just a real quick question, if you guys can answer in chats right now, how many of you are still, especially the non-members, are still all over the place with your consistency? It's a simple question. All I ask is that you just be honest with yourself. Be truly honest with yourself. Dig deep and answer the question like you're just talking to yourself. Nobody knows you. Nobody cares, right? Just wing it. Like, tell me what it is, right? The answer should most likely be a resounding yes, right? You're all over the place. It's because you don't have that clear-cut path. You may think you do, but you don't. It goes along with what I've said for the past 8 years running Trick Trades is you don't know what you don't know. And a beautiful example of this is I just released a video on a stock, LIDR, and it ended up squeezing up and broke over trend. It went 40% today from lows. Beautiful play, right? And there's a lot of people that are, if you're watching that video, like if we really break this down, if you're watching day trading videos on YouTube, right? You're watching them. You're trying to learn. But more importantly, you're just watching them. Let's be honest. You're there for a reason, right? Like trying to come off like you're the smartest in the room and everything else, like it's not going to work. At some point, people need to realize and just like they need to submit. Nobody likes that word, guys. I get it. Nobody loves that word. They hate it. I don't want to submit. And especially with guys, right? Or even strong women. They don't like that word. But this is what it comes down to. It comes down to submitting to somebody that knows what they're doing. And it's not a negative thing. Anytime I've ever dealt with any of my successful friends where I'm going to for advice or knowledge, I submit fully to them. I give in to whatever they say. Why? Because I trust their advice and their opinion, right? And that's what it comes down with this. And all you have to do is you got to learn from someone. That's the bottom line. And it starts with learning from the right people. And if they don't have a clear plan for you, they got nothing, right? So that's kind of number one of the 5 common reasons why your account is not growing. So number 2 is you can't find the holes in your game. Okay. Now this is a big deal. Now, for those that might be new to following me, either on X or on YouTube or even Facebook, I don't think there's many people from Facebook here, but for those that are new, I have a video that's out. And the crazy thing is, I think it's only got like 1,000 views or something. That video should every single, and I'm not just saying this because it's my video. I know what that knowledge and information is because I know as a trader. Now, I know I didn't introduce myself at the beginning of this. I kind of screwed up. I should have. But I've been a day trader for 10 years, a decade, okay? And this is stuff that it has taken me a long time. It took me a long time to figure out, guys, a long time, years, knowing exactly what the holes in my game are. And that video shows you exactly how to do it. So we can discuss that a little bit here since you guys are here to learn. So actually there is one, let me find it here. So I went over this on Catherine's chart and I'm going to go over it again just because it's a good example of finding holes in your game. Now, if you guys can follow along, this one might be a little complicated because we're trading puts, meaning we're just shorting the stock. That's all it is, but it's with options. Don't let options freak you out, guys. So when it comes to this, we want to short up at high, right? Up at highs. We need it to develop a range. If you can follow my cursor. So on this here, and I pointed this out in the last video I did, where she entered on this, okay, where that initial entry is with no correction, she basically, if she was a little more patient in the trade, waited for highs, wait for that proper entry, man. Like when you're dealing with small size, you really need to, you gotta be real patient and only get the entries that you want. Okay, don't be early. If you miss it, you miss it, right? So on this one here, if you take a look, if Catherine would have just held off a little bit longer, let it come right up into that resistance, right to the palm of your hand, into the entry that you want, that entry would have been at $1, okay, on the premium. Well, the exit on this was 41 cents. That's a 40% return. So what she's done here by entering that little bit early at around 21 cents and then exiting at 40, she's made about 10, 11%, whatever it is, 12% maybe, something like that. So do you see how you lose out on 30%, right? And this is what I'm talking about finding the holes in your game. So when you go over these entry charts, you can see exactly what you've done and how to correct it. Now, let's say Catherine, if I were to go through the rest of her entry charts, and she was always that little bit early, that should tell her I need to be more patient in my trades. If I'm more patient in my trades, I can build this small account. Think about it. Think about a 40% gain, okay? Now, on that entry, with one contract, that would be $100 investment. You made 40% your money. That is $40, okay? Think of percentage gains, guys. That percentage gain is monstrous. Walk into a bank and ask them, I'm going to give you $10,000. I want you to invest it for me, but I want return of at least, let's even say 15% in 3 minutes. They will laugh you out of the bank. That's what's going to happen. This is the power of the strategy and the power of your own ability to just be a little more patient. Now, she still walked away with a nice trade and she made money on the trade, right? But the point is, it's always that there should be, as a day trader, there should be an internal quest to be the best that you can. Mastery, true mastery, like no bullshit, true mastery. And that's what I've always strived for. And at the end of this 10-year mark, where I'm at right now, I still consider I have not achieved mastery. Now, I know some of you would absolutely disagree with that, but I'm telling you, I will always progress, always. I will never stop. And that's what keeps me in the game. That's what keeps me with the level of consistency that you guys see out there that is absolutely unheard of. It's not impossible, guys, okay? It isn't. I know it seems that way. It looks that way. It isn't, okay? You know, another thing is, to go back into what we were discussing here, what a lot of traders don't realize, and I did mention this in my last video, there's no difference, none, zero, between making $10 a day and $10,000 a day. Do you know that? It's just a matter of sizing. And this is how you get there. With a clear plan, finding the holes in your game, and now third, you don't know when to be patient. And we just cut that, or went over that. It's not just about patience in the trade. It's also about knowing when to cut the trade, when to get the hell out. When you got to tuck tail and run, man, you got to get out. It's over. It's done. You're dusted, right? That's having a clear risk plan in place, okay? It's important stuff, guys. All of this is super important stuff that a lot of people will miss, or it's not even about missing. Again, it boils down to what I said at the beginning of this. You don't know what you don't know, right? Like, it's hard to know each and every step. It took me a decade to do this, guys, okay? Like, that's what it takes to reach this level. Now, it doesn't mean you can't make money. Like I said, I'm going to show you how you can grow your account 620%. That's 620% account growth in 5.5 months. And the results are in, and it is absolutely amazing. So when we don't know when we should be patient or when we should cut the trade, it's kind of a big deal. It's like the whole, should I stay or should I go, right? Should I stay in the trade or should I get the hell out? And that comes down to education. Education is one of the keys to this. And if you're not learning from someone that has been there, done that, has massive amounts of experience, that is backed up by results, you're going to be lost. One of the major issues that I have, and although I am posting on YouTube right now, is YouTube. I don't have a problem with YouTube, but what I have a problem with is it gives everyone the ability to be a know-it-all. And if they're a good yapper, they can fool people. And there's a lot of day trading education and information that sounds really good. And I'll give you an example from the video that I just released on LIDR. A lot of people were asking about and making comments and statements of, well, the short float is only 3%. But you don't know what you don't know. What you don't realize is all of that information, when you go to like shortfloat.com and all of those websites where it gives you the short float, do you think for a second, okay, and let's go into this chart. Do you think for a second that they have up-to-date information about the shorts that are in this just prior to the last few days? Do you really think that they have that and they will release that to the retail traders? Absolutely not, guys. They won't. They don't. Now they say that they update it every 10 days. They don't. That short information is constantly coming in. Let's take, for example, let's just say today, because it had that big run up and then it failed. Think of how many shorts are in this just today. Well, let's say that they update it every 10 days. Well, how are you going to know? You have no idea what the data is on that. So your 3% short float, it's not relevant. What is relevant is the chart and areas of volume and resistance and support, natural movement theory, which is what I call it, which is proprietary to Trick Trades and myself, which, like I mentioned in my last video, I will be writing a book over it, because this, especially for members that do know, it's gives you, I also call it the crystal ball effect, is what it is, because it gives you the ability to essentially see the future. And I know that sounds like a really big statement and wild and bullshit. It isn't, though. It's the absolute truth. Members have seen it done live all the time, and it's pretty fascinating to see. And that's something I can teach you how to do as well. So to go back into into these 5 reasons, I think one of the biggest things that traders have a hard time with is when you get stuck in a cycle of small wins and big losses. Small wins and big losses is the killer, okay? Think about all of your losses that you've had. And I guarantee, if you were honest with yourself, that one loss is constantly wiping you out, right? So let's discuss why. The reason why it's doing that is because you do not have your sizing under control. What's going on here is you're generally sizing up on the wrong days because you're kind of left to your own devices, right? The beautiful thing with this Size Up app, and we'll talk about this a little bit more as we go on, I tell you what days to apply pressure. That's what I call sizing up. We need to apply pressure on the right days, right? It's like anything. Like, if you're driving, let's say you're on a racetrack, you go to Las Vegas and you go on one of the racetracks, or maybe you hop in a hot rod or whatever the hell your jam is, right? Do you pin it, like fucking mat it around corners, or do you wait for a straightaway? You wait for the straightaway, right? It's the exact same thing with this. But what you're doing instead is you're only matting it, applying pressure on corners. You're not looking at the daily chart, number one. That daily chart, for all of you that are just joining me here right now, if you want to go back into that quote that I said about practicing 10,000 kicks once, practice all of your kicks on the daily chart. That daily chart will tell you everything you need to know. Now, I have hours, probably months worth of mentoring live classes dedicated to the daily chart. That daily chart is what so many traders are missing. In fact, there's a very famous trader out there that every time he takes a massive $100,000, $200,000, $1 million loss, he's not looking at the daily chart. It's on some of the simplest trades out there. And I know that sounds very hindsight of me and critical, but it's my job as a coach, right? I mean, I know he wouldn't listen to me. He's not going to listen to me. But if he were to just look at the daily chart, he would see one of his biggest losses was on Tesla. That Tesla trade was ridiculous for him to take. I think he took a $800,000 loss or something on it. And it was on a chart that it literally sold off straight down into the previous close with speed and distance into a valid support or resistance level. Right there, that's your checklist, guys. If you have speed, you have distance into a valid support or resistance level that is backed by multiple levels of support or resistance, which is generally the previous close, it's going to hold. You will get a bounce there. And what he did is he missed it. He absolutely missed it. And of course, it bounced and it held and it went up an absolute mile that day. It was a monster day on Tesla. Missing the daily chart is one of the holes, number 2, in your game, right? But this is why people get stuck in this cycle of small wins, big losses. They don't know when to apply pressure. That's my job. See, this is where I take the weight off of your shoulders. I take the weight off your shoulders and all of the guesswork out of it. I tell you the day to size up and when to apply pressure on the exact trade to apply pressure. This is how this system works. It works amazingly. So one more thing, and then we're going to start moving on here into the actual app. The last thing on this list is emotions. Like, emotions are controlling your trading, not your skill. Your skill should kind of dictate how well you're trading, right? I'm sure there's a lot of you after the fact, right, that you can look at the chart, or in the evenings, maybe when you're just looking at a chart and it's like, yeah, man, I would totally buy there, right? And maybe it's not even hindsight. Maybe you're actually seeing something that's really relevant to a trade plan that would potentially work, right? But then come Wednesday morning, 9:30 a.m., market opens, that buzzer goes, candles start bopping around. Your emotion takes over. And then what happens? What happens, folks? Come on, give me an answer. You shit the bed, don't you? Right? You take a big loss. Or you hesitate. A number of things can go wrong. That's because you don't have your emotions under control. You're letting your emotions drive you. Now, that can take a lot of work. There's some of you out there that are probably just like me. Very quick-tempered. Someone cuts you off in traffic, you want to rip their throat out immediately. Anything, right? It takes work for people like us, right? You have to be willing to go the distance. You have to be willing to do everything, anything to make this work. And it starts with getting your emotions under control. Now, again, for those of you that are new to trick trades or even this here on YouTube, because I know I got quite a few followers from that last video, dive into those podcasts, those videos that I just put out, especially when I'm doing them with Adam and Jen on the Ascension podcast, which is more of a psychedelic podcast where we discuss the uses of psychedelics in day trading. And they're extremely beneficial because it will help you spot the holes in your game and yourself. You need to, if you're going to be all in, be all in. Don't be afraid of anything, right? Especially that. That's something that our ancestors have done for the 40,000 years. It's only until the last, 50, 60, the war on drugs that look at the shape the world's in now. So maybe that's a little note, right? Now, that could be a whole other topic, and I don't want to stray off too much. But working on yourself, getting your emotions under control are really important, guys. Okay? So now let's go over, how's everybody doing so far? Hopefully you guys are doing well, enjoying this. So I want to start going into some members' results. And I know what some of you might be thinking. You might be thinking, oh, more marketing. Wait, time out. You don't know what you don't know. Just stop, breathe, and listen. Because what I'm going to show you, there's so much information and data here that we can use to learn. I got to turn off my AC. You guys got to give me a second. It is freezing in here. Sorry, guys. So on this here, this is a great chart, okay? Now, this one here, for some of you might be looking at this and it's like, oh man, those results are not good. They are, though. What Nav has done here, he has overcome emotion. What you see at the beginning, you can kind of see this really stagnant growth, maybe what a lot of you are experiencing, right? There could be trust issues. There could be hesitancy issues. There could be emotion issues. But do you see what happens, just a short time after? Finally kind of gets his shit together, so to speak, right? And this is beautiful. I love this chart. Has 2 really consistent wins. And then he takes a consistent loss, just a small loss. Losses are okay, guys. It's a part of the game. I take losing trades all the time, right? It's going to happen. No matter what strategy you have, there will be losses. There will be blood. It's going to happen. It is about minimizing the damage by having a strategy, an entry strategy, a risk strategy, and then your sizing strategy. The 3 pillars, and we're going to discuss that more. But then you see what happens after that one reconcilable loss. Very easy to do. Straight growth. This shows at the beginning he was emotional and he couldn't necessarily maybe emotionally cope or reconcile a loss or a small gain. I would be willing to bet if I were to ask Nav and pull him off to the side and say, hey man, like, what did you do here exactly? You know what I'd be willing to bet? And I can speak to this because I've trained over 30,000 traders. I know their mistakes or their fixes even before they do sometimes. He's going to say he had a conversation with himself because it's something that I talk about all the time. And he probably decided he needed to start doing things my way. And then he did. And he did. And then he took a loss, which for a lot of people, that would knock him back down to less than 0 or where he started. It's a small little loss. Even doing that loss, I believe, was on Q's on one of our first trades. And it didn't work out. Small loss. Next day is a good day. Don't worry about it. Tomorrow's another day. And straight growth from there. And that's so much to learn from here. A lot of people will look at account growth and they'll get really frustrated because they're all over the place with their sizing. It's one of the most difficult things to master as a trader. Everybody just says, oh, just size up. Just send it. Go all in. How's that going to work out for you? It is about small, consistent growth. And what a lot of people may be looking at this, if you're new, you might be looking and it's like, man, those are really small gains. How do I get to, from a $2,500 account, this is what I'm going to take you to, a $2,500 account into an $18,000 account in 5.5 months. You're going to make $600 a day. At the beginning, you're going to make F all. You're not going to make much. You're going to make 10, 15 bucks a trade. That's all I want you to make. After you prove that you can be consistent, I'm going to level you up. I'm going to give you the go-ahead to apply pressure. Then you reach another stage. As you reach these stages, it gets unlocked, okay? And it unlocks this. Now, for some of you, you might want to write this down. You might be, oh man, I can't believe he's showing me this. You need to know when to apply the pressure, guys. I can give you the sizing protocol. That's the sizing protocol, right? First wheelhouse, 1 contract. Second wheelhouse, 1 to 2 contracts, because on the second, we start to work on adding, okay? We need to go back to baseline and back to 0. We need to start from scratch and work our way up. Finally, in stage 2, which is noted by this green, you get 3 to 5 contracts, okay? This is where you can actually start to make some pretty decent money. In my momentum, which is where I day trade live with a small focus group of traders, which I'm about to run here in about a week, we're going to be starting. This is where people can start to actually make money and almost start paying their bills. It's pretty amazing. And then going from 5 to 7, 7 to 9, 9 to 12, 12 to 16, 16 to 18. So this is only the first evolution, okay? That first evolution takes you to 20 contracts. That's going to get you $600 a day. That's what it's going to get you. Average, plus or minus, but $600 a day. Remember, that's an average. Sometimes way more, sometimes a little less. That's a first evolution. The second evolution is going to take you from 20 to 50 contracts. I know it sounds little, but it isn't. It's a big increase. It's over 100% increase, and you're already trading with some size, okay? After that, and I know it says 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. That's not years, okay? The third evolution takes you from 50 into probably 100, 125. We haven't worked out the numbers yet. We're not just throwing numbers and picking numbers out of our ass here. And then the last, we're going to get you up to 400 contracts potentially. This is where you're making your $10,000 a day. Now, I've got a question for you. Even if it took 3 years, so 4 years in total, to make $10,000 a day consistently, that's a word that a lot of people do not think about when they think of a sizing program. If it took you 4 years to make $10,000 a day, every day on average, what would you do for that? What would you do? Honestly, think about it. What is even $600 a day? Let's not even go that far. But in the first question, would you be willing to spend as much time as you maybe did in a former profession going to college or university? This is no different, guys. We consider ourselves at Trick Trades, and I've always ran my service like this. This is college or university. This is post-secondary education at its finest. This isn't a free Discord room or any of that nonsense, guys. This is where professionals come to want to become a professional day trader. What would you do for that? Would $600 a day on average change your life? I would say so. Think about that. We only work an hour a day. We only trade the first 30, 40, maybe 60 minutes of the day. So it's about how much you're actually going to put into this. So going back into these entries, I want to show you now. Tanya, this is Tanya here. Happy birthday, Tanya. It's her birthday. So I figured I would show how amazing she is. And she's absolutely crushing it. Look at the consistency here. This is what we are showing you guys. We're showing you that consistency, green days, day over day over day over day over day, are possible. Why? Because you are guided into the first trade. That's it. In the almost 3 weeks now we've been running this, we had one first trade that didn't work. Just one. That's it. It's a level of consistency that you probably haven't witnessed before. And a lot of you probably don't think is realistic or even tangible. It is. And that's why we are a premium service. So great job on that, Tanya. I just wanted to show the beautiful consistency. Now, this here is really nice too. This is Jason. Not only is Jason a member, but he is a friend. He actually lives down here. He's an expat from Canada. And I didn't know him up in Canada, but I met him down here in Costa Rica. And we're great friends with not only him, but his wife and his 2 kids. And, you know, the growth of this chart this is what people should be striving for. Do you see when we have a flat day, when it's like you don't make any money? What generally happens, and if people again would answer honestly, what happens when you are doing really, really well and then you make no money one day? You're going to freak out. Most of you freak out, and then the next day is when you apply pressure because it feels like you've lost something. And then that's when you take these big losses, right? Not Jason. Jason got right back on the horse the very next day. Consistent growth, day over day over day. And he's almost at the threshold now to get into wheelhouse 2, which is fantastic. So great job, Jason. Oh, that was Catherine. And this is another one. So this is Lauren's chart. And I know I showed this one too. But again, I think it's really important if people are really looking at this growth chart. It's not just about P&L, okay? This is the growth. When you look at some people's growth charts or P&L charts, what do you see? big spikes up and a big spike down, and then it comes back up, and it's like a stock chart, but like a bad one, like a shitty penny stock. It's all over the place, right? Wild ups, goes parabolic, and then it slams down and sells off. Well, that's your account. You don't want that, right? So Lauren, having nice, beautiful, consistent account growth all the way up. Look at that little loss that she took. She didn't freak out. She didn't, like lose her mind and go all in the next day. And then the next day, she completely recovered that loss and then some. That's the key to this, guys. That's what this sizing protocol does. That's what this Trick Trade Size Up app does for you. It keeps you safe. It keeps you from taking these big, wild, stupid losses. You have to ask yourself, how much is that worth to you? Now, when I was first coming up as a trader, guys, there was no proper education or information. There was like Tim Sykes and a couple other guys out there that are just garbage. I'm sure most of you guys realize that now. And I'm not trying to bash it. It's the truth. I mean, really. So there wasn't anything out there. To get a professional day trader, do you know you had to pay $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 for like a week with the guy and just talking to him for maybe a couple minutes a day? Like, that's no joke, man. And any course that was worth its weight, that was actually legitimate, coming from a proven professional, was tens of thousands of dollars, guys. You guys are living in the age of information. You have access to a professional day trader that can actually show you this type of account growth, right? Now, keep in mind again, it's just one contract. Right now, it's just one contract. And they've reached the threshold to get into 2 contracts. We're just waiting for a day to size up. And I'm not just going to wildly and irresponsibly say, let's size up just because. No, it's going to be on the right day. And when it does, we will hammer it and we will nail it, right? And that's the beautiful thing, going over these entries, folks, and seeing this type of stuff. I couldn't be more proud. And this is beyond our wildest expectations with this size up. We knew it was going to work, or obviously we wouldn't have released it. But this is something that is going to change the retail day trading space. It will. Now, remember, we have a 3-pillar system at Trick Trades, right? And that's not just catchy marketing or any flashy stuff. That's what it is. We have our entry strategy. You get full access to that. Proven entry strategy. Then you have our risk strategy that we call standard risk. It looks like a basic stop out strategy. It isn't. That's taken me a decade to go over. And the mentoring members, I gave a full class over what exactly the standard risk fully is. And obviously all members have access to that, but I really went into depth with it. And it shows, and I know it's going to sound like I'm tooting my own horn. It's brilliant. It really is. When I had that light bulb moment of going through that, it struck me like a bolt of lightning, okay? It's designed just to keep you in the trade long enough so you're not stopping out. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It can be uncomfortable, but it'll come back up. It will only come down into standard risk 15% of the time, and it will break that standard risk 15% of that 15%. Work out the odds there. It's so rare, it's ridiculous, right? And then we have our sizing strategy. Now, our sizing strategy, as you can see with those results, and that's just a small handful, that is not cherry-picked results of a few members that are doing well, okay? There are many, the majority of members that are doing this consistently. And even to go back into Nav's chart here, once you get your emotions under control, look what happens. It is consistent growth, day over day over day over day. Now, the next thing that I wanted to talk about is to go back quickly into Catherine's chart. There's more of a reason why we are looking at the day, the stock chart, and then this. If you have problems and you don't know how to fix the holes in your trading, I will be helping you do that as well in time. Okay. It's something that we're going to be doing here, but we need more data because I need data to look at, and then I'll help fix that as well. So this is a very robust system as well as app that I'm really excited to talk about. And I think where a lot of traders fail, just a couple of notes about that 500% video that I talk about is I knew, okay, now I knew that retail traders are lost. I didn't realize they were that lost, man. I really didn't. And I'm not trying to burn someone. I'm not trying to be negative or any of that. It's the truth. Some of the comments that were made were very strange. Um, you know, I happen to mention that because I'm on my laptop, that I don't trade from this setup right here that you see, guys. This is just my recording setup. Okay. I didn't have a mouse hooked up. It wasn't hooked up at the time. And someone mentioned that, oh, what a clown. He's a professional day trader and coach, but he doesn't have a mouse. It's like, do you think I not have a mouse? Like, just the things that people say. And it's like, they're not, most people say it's like, oh, they're trolls. Well, they're not trolls. Those are people. Okay. These people have children and they're adults and they go out in public in society. And other things with giving someone a full-blown trade plan that actually produced 40% today from lows, and then asking about another ticker. Okay, well, what do you think about FIFE? I think the ticker was, if I remember. It's like, I don't know. I just gave you a stock that could potentially give you 500%. And then at noon today, I also received a comment that it's like, oh, it's midday and it's just chopping sideways. Looks like it didn't squeeze to me. What is that? It's day one. It's day one, and it already ripped 40%. Again, go into a bank and ask them to produce those types of gains for free. It's all free. This is all free stuff, man. Free stuff, right? It's interesting. And the reason why I bring this up, to go back to talk about the mentality, and then we're going to get into the Q&A session. It's mentality really is everything, guys. And if you don't have the right mentality, I can help you with it, but you need to be open to coaching. This is a coaching service. I take my job very serious. I'm not your friend, okay? I'm not your dad, right? I'm not your brother, right? I'm your coach. And especially if you've never played in any sports growing up, maybe you're younger, maybe you didn't play any sports, maybe you weren't interested, maybe you couldn't afford it, whatever the case may be. When you come into trick trades, be prepared. This is not a cookie cutter service where the guy sitting behind the microphone, me, doesn't give a shit about you. I care. And sometimes that caring is going to come out with a bark, because that's what you need. So if you are going to come and join us, have some thick skin, realize what I'm saying is coming from a place where I need you to succeed. I need you to, okay? For those that don't know me, and I should have done this at the beginning, I'm a blue collar guy. I used to be a welding contractor. I owned and operated my own welding company. It was basically the first job I ever had. I started apprenticing in high school. Yeah, I had odd jobs when I was young, but I was going to be a welder because my dad was a welder. And I think that that's what a lot of people do. You start living other people's lives. And there's nothing wrong with being a tradesman. I enjoyed it. I made some good money with it. I met some amazing people. But I always knew that it wasn't going to give me the life that I wanted. And there's another discussion that I want to have in the very near future with all of you, if you're open to it, talking about goals and dreams. See, I think a lot of people are living in the dream world. They're pushing towards a dream, okay? And that's going to set you back, because that dream is way up here. That bar is set high, guys. It's way up here. That's dream. We need goal. Okay. And I'm going to tell you how to get there. And I have a beautiful example of it, of a dream, someone that worked hard to reach their dream, and now they're pushing into that, or sorry, their goal. Apologies. They worked hard to push into their goal, and now they're pushing into their dream. And it takes hard work. And I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm not going to lie to you guys. Okay. I want to shoot straight with you right off the hop. I don't want to try and sell you blue sky. I know the thumbnail of this video shows, 620% account growth in 5.5 months. And that is true. It's going to happen. So you got to work with me. That's what I'm getting at. If you come in, just be coachable, guys. So let's get into the Q&A. I'm just going to pull up here. One sec. So, this is a good little, it's not so much a question. It's more of like a comment or a statement. Lori writes, I have days when I struggle to pay myself. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? It's so crucial because we always think, okay, so this is how the stock market and these charts are designed. And yes, you can change the color, but what's the color? And I would like you guys to answer and just kind of play along with this. What's the color of the candles that go up? And what's the color of the candles that go down? So up candles green, right? Yes. And down candles red. What is also green? What is green synonymous with? Good and go, right? What is red synonymous with? Bad and stop, right? So when that stock is coming up and it's on a green candle, that's your go signal in your brain, in your brainwashed brain. Remember, we're all brainwashed. We need to unbrainwash ourselves. We need to unfuck ourselves is what we need to do, guys. Okay? I know some of you don't like that language, but that is the truth. That's what we need to do. We need to unfuck ourselves. Okay? So when we are seeing these candles go up and it's green, our brain, our brainwashed brain, that it's been instilled in just society. Green light, go. Green check mark, good, right? It's telling us that stock is going to keep going on a subconscious level. You need to stop that. You need to stop yourself from giving in to that brainwashing. So how do you do that? You have to train yourself to pay yourself into natural or targets, right? Natural movement theory. That solves everything. And Crystal Ball, I know it's a product, but for people that want just something that they can look at, it's fantastic for that. It shows exactly what to do. So if you don't have Crystal Ball or you can't afford to purchase it, that's fine. You don't have to. Just listen. We need to have the discipline and the foresight to know that these stocks will not keep going up. You know how you have to do it? You almost have to get like in the market's face about it. You kind of almost have to have, and again, pardon me, but you got to get fuck you about it. I'm not falling for your shit. I'm not falling for your games. Puff your chest out at it. Do you understand what I'm trying to get at there? Play a game with it. I understand the game you're playing, and I see through it, right? That's how we need to look at things. So what I'm trying to give you are these little tactics inside your mind of how to unbrainwash yourself, right? Because that's how we have to do it. And same with on candles that are coming down. Like if you're in a long position, you start seeing those red candles, what do you want to do? You immediately want to get out. But did it hit your stop? No, it is probably just a natural pullback. And the way these candles are designed, they're designed to freak you out. That's why you have those pops and those hammer downs. It's all designed. It's all by design, guys. Don't fall for their shit. And that's what you have to do. You really have to make it about like a game. Like it's like predator and prey, right? Like, and you're the prey. You need to flip the script on that. What do you tell yourself? If I tell each and every one, you are my fucking prey, what would you tell me? Honestly, answer that. Like, what would you tell me if I said, you are my fucking prey? I own you. You are mine. You're probably going to tell me to go myself, right? Yeah? Okay. Same thing. Get like that on the charts. Now, don't get like to where you won't back down. I'm not saying that. But that's how you have to be. You have to recognize the game and you need to put a stop to it. And the best way to put a stop to it is get your ego involved. Now, people always say, including myself, ego is horrible for trading. Yes, it is. But in the game of it, when you are trying to navigate, the institutions playing their manipulation and their bullshit, that's how you get through to yourself. That's how you make these adjustments, right? Like, I know it's a kind of a strange way of putting it, but that's how I can get through to you. That's how, like, all of this stuff is how I had to tell and coach myself. I do self-coaching all the time on how to perceive and look at the markets and these charts and everything else. So I hope that helps a little bit, Lori. Okay, so we got a question here. I'm not all over the place, but I do not grow my account. I just try to buy low and sell high, but it takes forever. And I would love to learn a more efficient way. Maybe you teach me swing trading. Okay, yes. So what I suggest, okay, so we have a swing trading service. It's called Revolution Swing, and Adam can type that in, revolutionswing.com. It is an alert-based system. I give you trade plans, and then it is up to you to obviously execute the plan, and we send out alerts. I'm not a fan of alert services, but that's why I give you the full-blown trade plan as well, okay? What I would suggest for you, and I know you want to swing trade, even if you came to Trick Trades, because Trick Trades is our educational service. That's what you need to understand. Trick Trades is our educational service. Even just for a month, and you went through the boot camp, which is a full-blown course that we give you, and it's designed to actually help you retain this information. It has quizzes in the whole nine. You will retain this information. It will show you how to enter and how to pay yourself, how to pull profit. It'll give you all the basics, right? I call it the bones, right? The bones or the basics. And come get educated. I can't stress that enough, guys. I know there's a lot of you that want to just make money in the stock market because you maybe work with a guy or you have a neighbor or something like that, right? Where it's like maybe they've made some money in the market. But what you need to ask yourself is this person still continuing to make money? And the answer is most likely no. A lot of people don't realize, and here's another thing too, and everybody has heard this statistic, that 90% of traders fail and 10% make it. It's more like probably 2% at this point make it, maybe 5% on a good day. It's because people don't actually respect the difficulty level of this career. And it's important to find someone that can show you how to navigate these markets, okay? Like, what I don't want any of you. Like, if, like, you're all here, right? Like, you're all here for a reason. You want to learn something. And my YouTube, like, if you're new to my YouTube, man, there is gold on there. Like, gold, straight up. Use that. If you can't afford the service, again, we're a premium service. It's okay. It's fine. That's why I offer a bunch, not only the strategy, but, mentality lessons as well. But I highly recommend, because remember, that's just my free stuff. That's the stuff I'm willing to give away for free. So if you like that and you think that's pretty badass, what do you think I'm holding back for my paid members? And that's what I want to get to you. Like, don't try and swing this on your own. It's almost undoable. It really is. And yes, some people will make the argument it's like, well, you did it on your own. Yeah, I know. And I don't consider myself overly special. But the one thing that I have that a lot of people don't is I am a self starter. Okay. I get up at 4 a.m. every day, no matter what. Okay. Even to this day, got millions in the bank. I still get up at 4 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m. and I put in the work, right? Like, the whole statement, like, it's hard getting up in the morning, running the miles when you're waking up in silk sheets. Well, I got the silk sheets. I want softer silk sheets. I want mastery is what I want. I'm always pushing ahead. I'm just trying to paint a picture for you that, and again, I'm not trying to come off like an asshole. I'm a different breed of beast. I'm an entrepreneur at heart, a self-starter. A lot of people aren't, okay? I've had run-ins with this with people that I've hired with Trick Trades, and they have to be a self-starter. And it didn't work out because of that, because they had to be told to get up, go do this, go do that. It's like you need to be a self-starter as a day trader. And that's why I'm saying come get educated, because that is something that I can show you how to do, right? And it's very difficult to like put a price on that. You know what I mean? So we got a couple more questions here. So John is asking, do you use a small stop and limit when you start with one contract? For example, $20? No, we don't use hard stops, and we don't use limit orders. We use market orders. We trade the most liquid options in the stock market. We trade SPY and Qs. Sometimes we will venture out to Apple and AMD and Meta. These are the most liquid options in the stock market, guys. It's a 1 cent spread. You don't need limit orders. By the time you're finished pissing around with limit orders, I've never used, even when I was trading penny stocks, when there's volume, there's no spread, guys. Get in. Just get in. Everyone's trying to save themselves a penny. Don't worry about that. Just get in. And as for stops, no, we have our stop strategy. You need to stop yourself out. Now, I will say, if you are away from the charts, yes, we set stops, of course, right? But we're in and out of these trades fairly quickly. We're not looking to swing these, right? You're in and you're out. You pay yourself on the first push, right? And that's it. And then you can leave some on, and then you can set a stop. But as for entries, absolutely not. And for stops, if I'm in front of the computer, no, because sometimes when you set that, especially with options, we trade options very differently. Okay, John, like that's what a lot of people need to understand. The way we trade options, before Trick Trades did it, it was not out there. And it's time stamped, and that is true. When I first developed this strategy, each and every guy and their dog on social media told me it wouldn't work, and this is bullshit, and this and that. Now everybody is trading options the way it is. I think people, if they actually understood the contribution that Trick Trades has had to the world of retail trading, it would blow your minds. And it's not just a self-proclamation. There are members that are in here right now that have been with me since the beginning, and they can attest to the fact that it was never done like this before. Okay. It's the easiest method possible. People complicate options. Options are not complicated. I don't look at an options chart. In fact, I don't even consider myself an options trader. I'm a stock trader. I just happen to execute via options. That's all. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. Okay, so I got one last question here. I mean, I won't lie. I started eyeing it at 315, talking about LIDR, and I watched it shoot sky high to 480, which I know I would have cashed out around 5, but I didn't. I got it at 450 and out at 405. So, well, that tells me you didn't listen to the trade plan, right? So When you get given a trade plan, and I'm not going to come down on you, right? I don't know you. Kind of sounds like you chased an entry and and then you had no plan in place at all. You didn't listen to the plan and you got stopped out for a loss instead of making your 40%. So number one, you succumb to greed. Number two, you didn't follow the trade plan, and that's probably more importantly. And what's important, guys, when you're following trade plans from, this is probably the first time that, or maybe that last video, I should say, is the very first time you even have met me. You don't know me. And what I mean by that is I'm a stranger. I'm a stranger that gave you a stock pick, right? And then you went in and you chased it and you didn't listen to the plan. You took a loss. So what I would suggest to you is research the guy that's giving you these trade plans first and foremost, right? And upon research, you'll see, okay, this guy does know what he's talking about, but I do need to listen to his trade plan. These trade plans are planned out for a reason. And actually, it's funny, if I were to pull up the chart, but we're starting to run out of time, it actually did exactly what I said it would do, the way it rebounded from highs back down into support. If you watch, it did exactly what I said it would do. When I started going over, when I'm talking about rebounding and how it could potentially piss around, and you have to watch out for that, there's a lot in that video. It's more than just LIDR ticker going 500%. You have to follow the trade plan, guys. You know, like I find it interesting. And again, I'm not trying to like beat you up or anything. Like, please don't take that this way. But I find it interesting how, again, traders, inexperienced traders jump in on something without following the plan at all, like not even a little bit. And then they're surprised they took a loss. And then it's almost like it's your fault I took a loss. Do you know what I mean? Like let's break that down for a second and let's really take a look at how disconnected that truly is. Because it is. If you follow the trade plan, follow the trade plan. Like, I'm looking at it right now. It gapped up over that first trend, over those peaks. It held trend. Take the trade on that retested trend. I wanted it at the previous close, but it broke over trend, right? That was an important factor of it. Came down and confirmed into that trend, almost to the penny. And it ripped up 40% from there. And you didn't pay yourself? That's crazy. Do you know what I mean? And then you chased it to boot. And then it's like, it's almost, and again, I'm not trying to beat you up, man. I'm really not. I'm trying to get through to you. So hopefully this doesn't happen again. And then it's like, you're almost surprised that you took a loss. How are you surprised? That would be like going down one of the most insane interstates in the US. And let's say there's a set of lights. You're coming into a city and it's a red light. And you're like, no, fuck it. I'm just going to keep going. And you're still doing highway speeds. And then you're surprised that you racked up the car and rolled it a few times. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a matter of, you need to follow trade plans. Trade plans are very specific. They're extremely specific, guys. They need to be followed. Exactly. And it's only day one. Why are you stopping out? If you entered, mind you completely chased it. If you got in at 450, that's way crazy of a chase or whatever that was. Like, that's a wild chase, brother. Like, you should have been entered somewhere in that 380 area, I think. It doesn't matter. Somewhere in that area when it came down to low of day. Okay. Wait for the right entry, and then you can be patient with it. It's only day one. And it's still closed. I'm looking at it over here. It's still closed above that trend. If that gaps up tomorrow, if it does, or even if it holds that trend, this thing's going to launch. And if it does, it does. What people don't realize, it doesn't have to work. Like, I don't care if it works or not. I'm in it, but it's like I don't care if it works. I'm not married to it. It is a trade plan. It is a trade idea that is backed up through logic and technicals. That's all it is. It is strategy. It is trade plan. It is idea. It doesn't need to work. And I think that's what a lot of new traders are missing. So what I would suggest is what you should be doing is instead of taking that loss, you probably could have paid for a month's worth of trick trades and got educated, highly educated. And you would never, I guarantee you would never do that again. Never. It will save you money. Yeah, beautiful, Brian. See, and Brian right there, Brian's a member. And actually, you can watch The Truth Behind the Trade with Brian. That's Brian there, Brian Tarr. And he did a Truth Behind the Trade with us. And he is a badass because he's putting the time in, right? And that's what it boils down to. So before I wrap this one up, guys, I want to give you guys, because I know I said I would, I'm going to give each and every one of you a gift for coming out. So for members, for your next month, as well as non-members, if you guys want to sign up with me right now, and members, it'll still be available for you too, so no worries. Use coupon code SIZEUP. Okay, so that's my little gift to you guys for coming out, and I really appreciate it. You guys are all badasses for coming out. I would love to do more of these, and thanks for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks for spending your evening with me, and I really hope for some of you out there that are watching this, come get educated. Don't mess around. Come to tricktrades.com and get educated. Learn to size up properly, and let's do this. Okay, guys, have a great evening. Adios. Yep. You hear me? Yep. Oh, you had it muted? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So, how did that go? Yeah, I think so. So I've got 504 views, 177 at the peak, but that doesn't sound right. But 104 or 504 views, so that's good. That's actually really good for a live stream for like a channel this size. Oh yeah, yeah. And I'm no, I was just gonna say I'm just about to check the live stream. So 379 on Twitter. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah. But that's all right. Yeah, I think that went really, really well. It's so funny with that guy. He fucking chased it at 450. Well, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Now, did he comment at all in chat after that? Okay. Well, I wish he would have. I wish he would have said, yeah, you're right. You know, like, it's like, oh, I know I'm right. It's so funny the comments in that video, though, hey? The YouTube one. Like, I know there is. Yeah. I'm just thinking from like a content perspective. It's like, oh my God. Like, oh, dude, it's so hard. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's wild, man. It really is. What are some key takeaways from this webinar for a small account? I don't know. Watch the goddamn thing. Oh, just like people, like, what are some key takeaways from this webinar for a small account? Watch the fucking webinar, dummy. People want to put in like no time, eh? Like no time, no effort, no nothing. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's on YouTube. What is Luke said? Oh, I see. Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So he said that the YouTube quality was not the best. What did it look like on YouTube to you guys? Was it? I wonder. See, I hate to take that off though. See, it says it's only got 14 views. That's such a pain in the ass. Just give me one quick sec. Ooh, that's really bad. No, no, no. The quality. Okay, so it does get better. It's the first little bit. That's all right. It is recorded. So I'm going to leave this now. So, cause I'm going to export it and see if it's better. Hopefully it's fucking better. Better be, or I'm going to be real pissed. And, yeah, I might have to re-release it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think I'll just re-release it. It sucks because man, that's a lot of comments on that. So it will pick up. Um, oh, maybe it, maybe I don't have that setting checked off. Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely not the greatest. Yeah, that's real horrible. Why? Yeah, we need proper streaming software, buddy. I really want to get going on. Yeah, we need some proper streaming software. Like that's horrible. Like that looks like shit. No, no, it can't. Yeah, like that's brutal. But that's all right. I'm going to. So I'll just say goodbye because I want to get this exported, and then I'm going to get that up here tonight. Okay, thanks, eh? You too, man. Later.